case that you might have to leave early or some sort, then you can as well watch the replay. Okay, so today's topic is actually about why you could be destined to fail in trading, how you can avoid it, the reason why I wrote the book, and so I know there's going to be a lot of exercises. You guys can order it online, or if you want a signed copy, I'm more than happy to send one to you. Right, I know most people who are in this room know me, but for those who don't, my name is Ronaldo, and I founded Enlightened Super Trade Education actually in 2004. So just a little bit more of who I am. I got 14 years trading experience. I started in 1998 as per normal, always in stocks. In actual fact, I was an options trader and day trading stocks as well. And I became more involved with day trading New York Stock Exchange, and then after that moved into the currency markets and futures. So most of my trades at the moment are approximately about 90% currencies, 10% futures because I hedge my positions, and then longer term mainly stocks. Stocks very small, 1%. Okay, so and the reason why I'm trying to introduce myself just to see where I'm coming from in terms of the book. I actually wrote the book based on my experience from being an athlete, which I will also explain. So 8 years as a peak performance trader coach. When I say peak performance, trading system is one thing, but in terms of the mindset is a different ball game. There's need to be a certain element that I believe a trader needs to have, and yeah, by the way, for those who don't know me, if I'll be apologizing as well in advance because there's certain things that I might be saying that might be too harsh, and please don't take offense. It's just basically that's a general statement, and it's an actual fact in the trading industry. Okay. At the same time, created basically the be to have trading principle, which I'm going to explain to you a little bit more. In actual fact, the book I explain it very well in the book, based on the be to have. Be pretty much on the being, meaning you need to be a certain element, knowing who you are, and then do, which is the doing, and then have, which is the having. Trading principle, and lastly, the foolproof emotional flow chart, which I include in the book as a bonus material. Because technically speaking, at the end of the day, when you're trading, if you have a good trading business plan, a good trading checklist, a good trading plan, and if you are trading with no emotion, yes, we are human beings, we're always going to have emotions, but if the foolproof flowchart that I created is a simple step-by-step, basically being aware of your emotions every moment prior you execute, during when you got a trade, when you're in a trade, and after the trade. Right now, then on the next one, based on who I am, is mainly I got 17 years experience as an elite athlete in Taekwondo. I've been doing martial arts now for more than 28 years in Taekwondo. I just basically love martial arts in particular, and not mastering. I won't say it as mastering because there's always a learning curve on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, and now basically I also started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the past 4 years, so the art itself is fantastic. So I've done Tai Chi, boxing, pretty much everything, and they have all its different elements, but what I was really in love with was in Taekwondo. So it's funny because I got interviewed by one of the coaches who used to play for Colombia and played with Pelé as a professional soccer player. And so he said, do you think you can give me a photo of some of your medals or anything? And I had to call my mom and said, Mom, can you take a quick photo of whatever I've got at home? Just because there's plenty. And so my mom just took pretty much part of the medals or achievements that I had. So basically that's from all the trophies and medals. The thing that I love here the most is this one right here, my first gold medal, being an Australian champion. That's what it was I dear the most because that's when I really worked hard for it. I'm an athlete who is not talented. When I say not talented, I'm not flexible. but I had to work hard compared to the other athletes, especially some who are talented where they just have it. But for myself, I'm just talking about my personal experience. I had to train 2 to 3 times a day, especially with this one. That's why I ideally cherish this one right here, because I train 2 to 3 times a day, 6 days a week. And then the second one was this one. It is a good memory as well for me, because at the end I was leading and it was a good learning curve for me. I got too cocky, and then I was did like a flying some sort of kick in the air, and then I landed and I basically tore my meniscus and part of my ACL. So it was a good learning curve for me, meaning that you still need to be humble regardless whether if you are on the top, because anything can happen. And the same in trading, you can't be too cocky when we're trading, because when you get overconfident, this is where the market can actually kick your butt, right? So probably you've experienced that as well in the past or just recently, and that's how it works. And lastly, this was also a real good picture because there's a couple of great competitors here. This guy in the middle won the silver medals in the 2000 Olympics. Basically, most of us here try to qualify, but due to politics, they already know which one actually who they want to pick, who they want to choose, which is pretty much unfortunate. But it was also a great experience because the 2000 was the first time that Taekwondo was in the Olympics. And then I got 2 years being as a high-level coach, so basically coached the U.S. national collegiate team last year, which gave me a great opportunity. As an athlete, I always loved traveling, and actually that's how I moved to the U.S. Because without my sport, I wouldn't have met my wife today, and I wouldn't have a beautiful 2.5-year-old daughter at the moment. So, the experience was phenomenal. But the World University Games, excuse me for 1 second. Sorry about that. The World University Games is basically the second below the Olympics. It's based on the collegiate level, and most of, or the majority, that athletes come from the collegiate, represented actually, some of them to the Olympics. And some of them go professional in terms of the NBA. I met a group for basically the U.S. national team for the basketball, and 2 or 3 of them were certain that they were going to go to the NBA. And the reason I know, because I was sat next to a guy from, I think, from Denver Nuggets. So he was a scouting for 2 players from the World University Games. So it gave me a great opportunity. Led this lovely woman right here, this little girl, to the bronze medal. She had the opportunity to get the gold medal, but then again, once again, it's all about the mindset, and she was just happy with being third. Sometimes in trading, it's also the same. You're just happy with what you've got. So what do? You take your profits straight away, and you micromanage the account, right? So you get into a state of happiness, and you're just focused there rather than leaving your trade and letting it ride. And I'll say great examples like Apple, Google. So if you shorted those stocks all the way down, congratulations. So that's what happens as well in trading. And hence, I work with elite athletes and work with elite traders as well. And currently, coach at Stanford University. Once again, because of the traveling and so forth, Stanford was a great experience, or is a great experience. Moving to the West Coast, my wife's from Florida, and when she got accepted a job over here, and some of her friends basically told me, they said, hey, you should go and train at Stanford. They have a good training program over there, and you'll enjoy it. So I said, okay. And I must admit, I was being arrogant at first, because oh well, collegiate level, what do they really have? What can they provide? But they do have a lot of good athletes. Because to get in at Stanford, it's just amazing. A lot of most of them are actually they're intellectual. In order to get in, they're pretty much everything that they do is always on the top. So as part, and a couple of them because they got accepted at Stanford is because what they've done in the Taekwondo community. The majority of them basically fought for the U.S. national team as well, and an Olympic, Junior Olympics and the Junior Olympics. So definitely they have a lot of ability, and during the time started helping them out, and then so the head coach basically answered, we like what you do. Do you think you'll be able to be part of the staff and be a coach? And I said, okay. So I accepted it. And because of that, last year we led Stanford to be the Western Collegiate Championships. So each and every year they have a championships within the collegiate level, like UCLA, USC, UC San Diego, Berkeley, sorry, all the top pretty much universities, and they compete. And then once a year they have a national collegiate championships, so all over the nation, from Harvard, Yale, Penn State, from community schools to just normal colleges. So yeah, to be in the environment is fantastic. And in actual fact, just being in the U.S. and being a coach for only 2 years on an elite level, and then for them to choose me as one of the coaches was a highly privilege. And a lot of people wanted to be, a coach. And some people are better players than I have, but I guess it's the experience is the difference, right? So that's who I am. That's my experience, and like I said, the book is written based on my experience as an athlete, and it's mainly about the self-awareness that I bring across through traders from beginners, intermediate, and advanced. Now, the only difference for me from other trading psychology books is that it's coming from the experience hands-on. I know there are a lot of great trading psychology books, but it comes through a workbook of theoretical and not through a live experience. Especially some of them, they explain, that athletes, they do this, they do that. And so I'm coming from an actual athlete that experienced from almost coming from nothing, and bringing my way all the top. Yes, I've since I started, been reading a lot as well, and part of the self-development. And I wrote part of the book is saying part of my experience of losing pretty much everything in 2003, or I had a choice either to go back to work or my trading. And I chose trading because without that, I believe I won't be here today talking in front of everybody. And everything that we do, the decision or the choices that we make creates our own destiny. And I truly believe that. So in trading, it's also the same. If you make a decision and part of the decision was a personal choice and you didn't take full responsibility, then the end result, it's either, you feel a negative emotion of irritability, regret, or anger. But if you take full responsibility and it was a loss, it's okay, you can move forward. The last thing is mainly the regret, right? And in our day-to-day lives, it's also the same. There are certain parts of our lives, not just in trading, but outside of trading, that we regret doing, right? So what I'm trying to bring into the book is mainly about the self-awareness of things. And that's what makes me a big difference from other trading psychology books. Any questions so far? Okay, great. So it is a fact from my own set of research and the research of others that 75 to 95% of traders will lose all of their equity in the first 3 years of trading, and I'm one of them. Well, I started in 98. Used to be a database administrator, and I went full-time in 2002, so that was actually 4 years of trading part-time. And then 6 months later, that's when I lost. Got too cocky. I was single. Was a high-risk taker, and I had a coach. I had a mentor, but through miscommunication, he told me to basically go long, and I wanted to short gold. And what happened? March 20th, 2003, Americans landed in Iraq, and bingo, that was the end of it. Every cent, basically, that the gold stock dropped, I was pretty much in a state of panic. You know, in the center, you froze, because when it opened, it already got down, and the defeat, that I couldn't do anything. You know, well, the feeling was just painful. And so I pretty much got into a state of depression. Didn't want to talk to anybody. But in the end, you know, yes, I think, you know, was part of that is being an athlete. You know, so that I'm a type of person who's always very competitive and always never give up. Look at myself in the mirror and just remember one of my coaches said, you know, if you really want to change, then you must change. There's nobody else who would be able to change it for you except you yourself. So that's when I decided hang on. So I went for a hike. I still remember up to this day, the top of the mountain, and I just yelled out, F-U-C-K, just like let out all my frustration. And then started blaming, you know, at first I was blaming my mentor, my coach, wanted to sue the guy, but at the end of the day, and instead I realized, hey, you know, you pressed the trigger. He didn't. So the responsibility factor was a big learning curve for me. It was a big breakthrough. It was a big aha moment. And ever since then, I created my own set of rules. And basically, I know trading is very subjective. I know this methodologies can be objective to a certain point, to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, it's our own personal beliefs. Whatever we believe and what the market tells us, and if you believe and you strongly believe that's going to happen, then you're going to execute. Or you don't execute. Or if you have the fear, then you won't execute, right? Hence, this is what caused the 75 to 95%. In my own personal research, it's about 95%. It's no longer to do about the system. The system is just part of it. The reason why I say 95%, because a part of the research that I did is mainly psychological factor. 5% were just happy with the way how they traded, and they were making money, either break even or consistently making money on a yearly basis. Right. Fact number 2, 90% of successful traders have trading plans. 2006, the Australian Technical Analysis Association invited me to talk, and you know, he's still young during the time, and there's 200 people in the room, and the majority of them were on average about 50 or above. And so they saw this young man, is like, what does this guy have to say? You know, it's at such an early age. I mean, you see within their physiology. And I was nervous because, like, you know, all these guys are all old and, you know, be older and have a lot of experience. But when they started talking, all of a sudden, that cross of the hands started taking off, and they started to listen a little bit. But the number one question I asked these guys was, how many of you in this room have a 1, set of goals, 2, a trading journal, 3, a trading plan? Less than 3% basically rose their hand. In terms of goal setting, probably 1 or 2 out of a 200 that basically was sitting in the room only rose their hand. So it's a high probability that traders don't have goal setting, or they don't have a set of goals or a trading plan. It is imperative to have a trading plan. It is also a fact that almost 100% of day traders will lose all of their capital. FXM basically told me actually 6 months, and a lot of currency brokers always say it's about 6 months. One of what I'm curious actually is micro accounts. So FXM gives out or I don't know if they still do, they give out a $50 free account if you open up with them, a micro account. So what I'm curious basically, you know, if you guys receive the emails, I'm just curious that if you open up a $50 micro account, how long do you think it will last in order for the $50 to be blown up? Well, obviously the easiest way for me is just to go to FXM and ask them, and they will probably give me the answer. But I want to know firsthand too from traders personally on how long it will take. Well, it all depends. If someone has, you know, is well educated, then yes, it will last longer. But if someone's new to the game, in about 2 weeks they will lose that on average. There's a great forum as well, not just on FXM. I think Forex Factory is the one I read. One guy who was demo trading, and he said, okay, rather than demo trading, what if I will just open up a micro account and start trading my system that I learned. And he stated every 2 weeks for 3 years he kept losing the $50. So just imagine that. Then how much money did he put into his education, right? All right. Fact: 84% of successful traders have a trading journal. That's pretty big, right? So in other words, 16% who are not successful don't have a trading journal. So for everybody in this room, it is highly recommended to have not just a trading plan but also a trading journal. There is a big difference between a trading plan and a trading journal and a trading business plan. A trading business plan is the overview of your trading business. It's like a normal corporation like Apple or Google, where every quarter they have to do reporting, they have to do some auditing and so forth. So in other words, in your trading business, you should also be the same, where on weekly or monthly you are tracking down your results or your performance. Trading journal is something that you do write down in terms of what you've learned. I love to call it as the gratitude journal, because if you won and you made money, and be grateful for that win. But if you lost, you also need to be grateful for the loss. In actual fact, the loss or that mistake plays a bigger role than from what you've won, because without the mistake, you cannot improve to go to the next level. Michael Jordan is one of my favorite athletes up to this day. This guy is just phenomenal. And what he normally did when he used to play is that if he made a lot of mistakes, he didn't perform well, he kept on rewinding the video or the game that he did, and he finds a way on how to be better. So it's the how, it's not the why. Why did I lose? Why did I do this? Because if you're looking at the why, then you're finding for reasons why you made a mistake. But if you're finding, if you're answering the how, then you're finding the solution on how to be better. Right, so very important in terms of the trading journal. And also then a trading plan is a trading part of your trading checklist, is a rule-based, systemized plan that you have to do prior to trading. For example, I have my own set of trading rules. From 2 to 3 in the afternoon, that's my time, because that is when the currency in the US market basically shuts down. In the stock market is at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or let's talk about Eastern Standard Time here in New York time at 1 o'clock, right? Sorry, which is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so what I tend to do is that between 2 to 3 in the afternoon is my time where I don't have, or I turn off my phone, no emails, in other words, no distractions. It is like in a competitive mode, because as an athlete, trading is pretty much like you're in the Olympics on a day-to-day basis, or when you are trading within that moment. You are competing against professional trader athletes out there like Goldman Sachs, banks, Citigroup, professional online retail traders, hedge fund managers, and so forth. So you need to have a good mindset, and not just the mindset aspect. You also need to be in good physical shape, meaning you are well rested, you're not tired, you're hydrated, and you've eaten properly. Because if you are tired, you're dehydrated, you didn't even eat, totally guarantee you cannot perform 100%. You'll be tired, you feel lethargic, and you'll make stupid decisions. And in most cases, I'm talking just personal experience, if I don't follow my own trading plan, this is when I lose. But if I follow everything, the probability of me winning is very high, because I'm focused, I'm disciplined, and I'm motivated, and so forth. Okay, so I will show you an example of a trading plan that I do have to everyone that I do follow. All right. Any questions before I move on? So far, so good. All right, excellent, good. Alrighty, let's move on. Yeah, it'd be good if I go. Alright, so the other one here is that taken from Forex for News. Actually, it's a good website there too. In terms of time frame, if you see through here, and I'm just talking here about the currency markets, but through personal experience as well, if you're trading lesser than 1 hour in stocks, futures, or Forex, the profitability lessens. Here, not a profitability score of 5 means traders are on average breaking even, below 5 means losing on average, and above the 5 means profiting on average. So 1 hour is, for me, is the minimum time frame that I do look at. But once you get into a bigger time, like 4 hours on a daily and the weekly, where you're leaving your trade a little bit longer, more of as a either overnight swing trader to a medium swing trader, this is where you can start profiting. And I like this. I even have one trade that started since February. It's not doing anything. It went up, it took a little bit of a profit, and it came back again. It's the Euro Swiss. So it was just like for 6 months, it was hovering sideways. And then finally there was a spike and then came back down again. So it's just hanging sideways. So just being patient. Now, here is the disadvantage and advantages of a trader profile, which I created that or wrote that in the book. To know your trader profile is very important, and part of the trader profile is knowing your risk. When I say risk, either 1, you're a risk taker, or 2, you're a risk-averse trader. If you're a risk-averse trader, then the profile of risk-averse traders are day traders and less. Day trading can be momentum traders or scalpers or trading specifically in a particular day. And they use a smaller time frame. The reason being for that, for risk-averse traders, because they don't want to leave their trades overnight so they can sleep well at night. Now, if the system is telling you that it is going to be a longer, more term of a trade, but you're a risk-averse trader, you cannot sleep at night. You know, you're going to keep on looking at your trades pretty much either on an hourly basis or looking at your iPhone or your iPad all the time. The next thing you know, within that particular day, it's the the trade starts to drop. You're seeing on a negative on your account or your profit. You start to micromanage the account, whilst the plan is saying to leave the trade because it can go further, right? So that is the disadvantage of a risk-averse trader trading longer term, to be a swing trader. If you're a risk taker, risk taker's profile is what they use a 4-hour or daily, weekly, because they can take longer risks in terms of their stop, because if you're trading and you're living your trades on a longer period, you need a bigger stop. The macro fundamental news is no longer as much, I wouldn't say important, but it doesn't really affect your trade, because in terms of macro fundamental news, they only appear within a short period of time. Like say, for example, if Bernanke, which he's going to talk on Wednesday, Bernanke is going to say something good or bad within that minute. He can go very, the volatility can go up and down like there's no tomorrow. Another perfect example this week was the presidential election. After Obama, basically at the very beginning, the Romney's statistic was coming a little bit higher than Obama, and all of a sudden it kept going up a little bit or kept dropping, and then when Obama won, right, then they saw the numbers of Obama coming further. Futures dropped 60 points, and then when he was officially basically winning, it came back up. It was on a positive, about 30 at something points, and then it went flatline. The next thing you know, there was a report in Europe, and then boom, it just dropped. So the volatility can occur within 24 hours in the currency markets, but obviously in the stock market, the volatility can occur within that 6 hours, 6.5 hours, plus the futures that it's currently running before it opened and after it closes. So imagine that. That's why stocks, I don't like trading stocks anymore because of the gaps. I hate gaps. If you're buying, well, at least you know your stop loss. So meaning that if you're buying a $10 stock, you know, worst case scenario, you're going to lose is $10. That's the worst case scenario that you can have. But if you went short on a $10 stock and it's the highest point and you don't know where it is going to be at, then you're in trouble, right? And you know, if it keeps going up, you're screwed. You especially don't have a stop. So going back now to a risk taker, that's the advantage. They can leave their trades a little bit longer. The disadvantage of a risk taker is that if they don't have the patience and they want the money right at this moment, they will start to micromanage the account, go back and go to the smaller time frame, and they start to micromanage the account as well because they just want it there and then. So there's both an advantage and disadvantage. So the key here is to have and find a balance that you can create as part of your profile. And part of that is to create your purpose, which I wrote that in the book. Well, the book has a lot of exercises. The purpose first is very important to find out. Why are you trading? So if you're trading to make money, then follow your own set of rules. And you need to be disciplined in order to do that. But if your purpose is just to trade for the sake of trading, then maybe perhaps trading won't be a key vehicle for you as an aid to make money on, because your purpose is not to make money. And I've met a lot of traders that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, they're trading, but they don't know why they keep losing all the time, and there's a vicious cycle because their goal is not to make money. Their goal is to create systems, or their goal is to fulfill the missing emotional needs that's missing in their lives. They just need the challenge or the excitement. And the reason for that is they work so hard on a day-to-day basis. They come home, they have a family, they get bored, they have nothing else to do, but trading gives them the excitement. So it's like going to the casino. They can't drive all the way to Las Vegas. They can't drive all the way to to Nevada. So what do? They use trading as a form of a vehicle, as a casino, in order to fulfill that excitement. Or if they're not smokers or drinkers or drug addicts, they will use trading in order to fulfill that. It is like smoking or drinking or taking drugs as a form of an addiction, because they need that. And as part of that, behind is maybe perhaps either they're depressed or they're bored, and it's part of the 6 human emotional needs. Abraham Maslow, which one of the pioneers of psychology, stated that there's certain emotional needs that every human being needs, and then Anthony Robbins actually expanded that on why we need those emotional needs. And then in trading, I included that in the book because we do have emotional needs, and in trading as well. At a later point in time, once you become more unconscious competent, meaning that you've mastered trading, you will be contributing to someone else as well, guaranteed, because you need contribution, right? And at the moment, either if you are new or intermediate and you need more training, is because you need personal growth. All right, let me move on. Okay, let's define what is an elite. That's what I said earlier. I work with elite athletes and elite traders. What is an elite? The definition of elite, and the best that I could find in order to make the positive definition that I could find, is the best or most skilled members of a group. The Olympics pretty much just finished. Everybody loves watching the Olympics, and I love watching the Olympics. Now it's football season. Baseball basically also finished. There's 2 parts of the group. 1, either you're a player. 2, or you are an observer. To be a player, there's only a select group of people that could be a player within that sport or whatever you do love. And the observers are either they just love it, they just love the game, or two, they couldn't get in, hence they observe. To be in a place of eliteness, it takes hard work, and hence that's why when people come to me and they want to learn, I always tell them trading is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It takes hard work. I learned my lesson for the past 8 years, and now I assess traders that I want to basically teach or I want to coach. Because one is that how much commitment can you give me in order to really get into the goal that you want? Because I always ask them, what are your goals? What's your purpose? But in order to get what you want, you need to sacrifice. There's always going to be a sacrifice. Hence, for people who are, like say, in a baseball team, and say the Giants won the World Series, in order for those guys to be a world champion, a World Series, they worked hard for it. The people who be in the Olympics, they worked hard for it. In most cases, they don't watch TV, no social life, because all they do is eat, sleep, the sport. That is it. Now in trading, I'm not saying that you also need to be in that sense, but if you're going to be in a trading mode, then you need to be disciplined, like on 1 hour of trading. That is your 1 hour of power, and you have no distractions. Or if you're new to the game, then at least put 1 hour on a daily basis as part of your homework, then in order to improve your trading skills. I do believe in demo trading, but to a certain degree, to a certain point, it has to end. The way how I see it is like kicking or punching a bag. The bag doesn't hit back. But once you put your skill to the test with another person who also can kick and punch, the game is now different. It is dynamic. In trading, through a demo trading, the reason why it doesn't work because the money doesn't hit you back. And the market doesn't hit you back. And what's the underlying cause is mainly the money aspect. Now once you put your real money on the line and you have a real trading account, if the person has an attachment to money, they can't win. Likewise in sport, if that person is always attached to winning, all they think is about winning, 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 they cannot win because their focus is about winning. So what I'm trying to say here is you need to focus about your performance, the process on the way how you do things. Hence the be do have the doing part. All right, the second one is I need to define what is a champion. A champion is a person with special knowledge or ability who performs skillfully. And the way how I say it, the first one is basically taken also from Free Dictionary, but the way how I see it is a person that performs to his best ability with a winning attitude, regardless whether if you win or lose. It is at the moment of now that if you give your best ability, then you are a champion. Unfortunately, a lot of athletes and a lot of people will say, I can only be a champion if I see that gold medal, and that was the number one mistake that I always had as a mental attitude. And I wonder why when I was my younger stages of competition, my coach kept on saying, what your problem is, Ronaldo, is that you always think of winning. You don't think about the performance. And not until pretty much it was the end of my career that I just realized that it is the performance is what gives us the success. I was talking to one of the guys as well, one of my close friends back home. He's more consistent winner than I am, being in the national Australian national team for multiple years, pretty much on a yearly basis. But he got bronze in the World Championships, but ever since that bronze, he couldn't make it for some reason. And then we started talking about it, and because that's what I said as well, like, remember when the three of us won the gold medal, because we were all supportive of each other, motivated each other, we trained hard for each other. And by the way, we're talking about training hard. We used to get up at 4:30 in the morning to meet up at 5 on what we call commission flats. Commission flats in Australia is something where it's not really for, what do you call it? It is mainly for families with a certain income, and it's government housing. And so we used to meet on the government housing at 5 o'clock in the morning. And when we start to run, by the time we get to the top, you can basically see a nice view. And we used to scream and say, yeah, while everybody's sleeping, we're training. So while everybody's sleeping, we're winning. So in trading, it's also the same in the way how when I lost everything is basically I just said, shoot, I need to change, do something about it. And by only doing that is by taking action. So if you're losing, if you can see all your results from now to the beginning of the year, by tracking that down on a monthly basis, and you need to write down what's missing in my trading, how can I improve that? Then find someone, go into a workshop that can make your trading skill a much better skill. Because if you're doing the same mistake over and over again, how are you supposed to know which one to look for if you don't have a coach? That is the problem about traders who want to do everything by themselves, unfortunately. Okay, now let's move on. So what are the key reasons why people lose? One is a lack of knowledge, lack of skill, learning how to trade by themselves, the ego, being righteous, the I know it all attitude. And part of my assessment these days is that if that person already knows a lot, then his cup is so full. When a person's cup is so full, there is no more for me or anybody would be able to teach this person. He's not going to be coachable. Because how are you supposed to teach someone if they already know it all? They can't. I've never seen an athlete who will basically say, well, I know that already. They can never be a champion or get into a level where they want to be because they already know it all. So unfortunately, that is one of the big issues of traders, of the 75% to 95% of who lose money is because of the righteousness, right? Don't know what they don't know, and yes, this is the biggest factor, and this is the reason why I wrote the book. And my purpose of writing the book is to let every trader know, that there is a certain process before you start learning a trading methodology. And that is the number one key mistake. And the reason why I know that is because when I moved to the U.S., I started when I packed my bags, and when I got married, and I know that if I'm going to get married to my now wife, I have to live here. It's not because I have to, it's because she was studying, right? So during that time, didn't have any friends to move to a new country, and you have no friends, and it's just by yourself, it's also challenging, no family. So what I did was I got involved with a trading company, an education company, and this is where I've met a couple of you guys in this room. I'm very grateful to meet you guys as well. We are currently in this room at the moment. And my purpose for joining the company was to find out the business plan or the model on how they operate. Every trading educational industry, the big ones, have the same business model. At the end of the day, they don't care about that person. At the end of the day, it's all about numbers. At the end of the day, it's all about upselling. And because they know that if they have the proper marketing, not everybody, if there's about 25 people or 100 people in the room, only 1 or 2 people will succeed. The rest, they will put all the materials back in their cupboard. They won't pursue it. Because trading is difficult. When I say difficult, it is a challenging profession because there are a lot of things that needs to be done. The number one is discipline. Most people do not have the discipline or the integrity to have that discipline. And the confidence is a third factor, and the fear. If you don't have the confidence, it is automatically you will have fear. And the reason why there's going to be a lot of fear, the market is dynamic. It changes all the time. There is no certainty in the marketplace. It is like competing at a sport. If you watch the Olympics, there is no certainty that that person is going to be a gold medal. None. Even as a competitor, We used to have these butterflies, or I personally have these butterflies all the time. You step into the ring and there's about 1,000 of people looking at you, right? And you're just there. But once you're in the zone, your mind, body, and spirit, it doesn't matter who's in there anyway, and you just perform to your best ability, that's when you start to win. So the don't know that what they don't know is a big issue, and the reason for this too is that in terms of the education industry in the trading world, it is not regulated by the government. It's not like a profession where you want to be a lawyer or be a doctor. You need to go to the best schools if you want to get the best job. Likewise for engineering or in the high-tech and the technology sector. You need to have the certificate. If you go to a community college, the odds and probability that you're going to have a job is very unlikely. You go to an Ivy League school, doesn't matter if it's Stanford University or University of Melbourne or Monash University, the odds and probability that you're going to get a good job is highly probable. In the trading industry, anybody can teach. You can learn it by yourself. You can open up a minimum of $25,000 account and you can trade as a day trader, and you can call yourself as a professional day trader, but it's not regulated. You will lose at $25,000 pretty much in an instant if you don't have the proper education. And they don't even have a coach. If you go to a school, your mentors are your coaches. If you do a sport, you have 2 or 3 coaches. So in trading, and this is what still gives me the mind boggles me, is that how come traders who want to learn how to trade don't have a coach? And the number one reason that I got is because they don't know what they don't know. 2 is also the trust. They don't just trust the person that they're gonna get as a coach, because the number one thing too, or the second biggest thing, is that they're gonna say, I don't need you. I can do it everything all by myself because I know it. I know I can do it, right? That is the second. The third is that because what they don't know is mainly not having the trust. Like, well, if the third part is when, if they experience a lot of losses and they're going to come up to you and say, well, why would I go with this guy? 1 is also about time, 2 is money, mainly the money issue. So it's too expensive. Question is, compared to what? It is interesting that every parent will send their kids to the best schools. They will spend $150,000 by the time they finish, and they get into credit, and that is actually the number one issue at the moment, aside from the housing credit market, is now the student loans. I believe that will be the next problem of what the financial institution is going to have. A lot of students are having a lot of debt and they cannot pay it. Why? Because there's no jobs. So when it comes to trading, if you really want to do this professionally, you want to do this, and you want to say, I want to make money consistently, you need to have a mentor or coach that can guide you almost on a day-to-day basis to know your technique in order to improve your skill. If you have a lousy technique, you're going to have a lousy skill, you're going to have a lousy result. Plain and simple, right? That's how it goes. All right, next one. They get sucked in with great marketing. A lot of great marketers out there, especially people who know about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. There's certain words that the human brain that basically can input, and with great marketing, that's how people get sucked in. And it's true, right? So these are the things that people go through, and why the odds and probability that they're going to fail in trading is highly probable. Lastly, the bad experience, which pretty much goes hand in hand with they don't know what they don't know. Any questions? Nothing. All right. Here is actually part of the learning pyramid. This is also basically in the book. What it is in terms of average retention rates. When you go to a seminar on a lecture-based, your retention rate is only 5%, especially if you are a person who's kinesthetic. If you're visual or auditory, but you don't write notes down, then you're going to be in trouble. If you're reading something, your retention rate is 10%. Audio visual in a classroom setting, your retention rate is 20%. Demonstration, meaning you're demonstrating something, is 30%. Discussion in the group where you're discussing trades and so forth, your retention rate is 50%. When you're practiced by doing, and unfortunately, as a mentor and a coach, it doesn't matter sometimes. I drill students, I need your homework. I need to get it done. You know, you need to get it done. This is a very big retention rate level, 75%, because the more you do something, the better you're going to be. And lastly, when you teach others, meaning the immediate usage where you're explaining something to somebody else, your retention rate increases to 90%. Hence, this is the one of the biggest issues about seminar setting type of workshops in the trading industry, because the retention rate is very low. Here is mainly one-on-ones, unlimited support. If you have a really good set of a program, then this is where people learn the best, right? Through that, when I created the program, or in our program, my program in particular, when we have the live trading classes 5 days a week, they're practicing by doing and teaching others immediately, meaning they're explaining something, they're the ones analyzing, they're the ones finding potential trades. The retention rate increases by a lot. So this is where I teach and mentor of this part. Discussion is awesome over here, but I seldom that I do on this part. It is important for me to do this part when in teaching the methodology based on theory, but after once they learn that, they go here straight away, because this pyramid is so important. Alrighty, going to the next one. This is now the video have trading model that I basically created. It starts first from the being part. We need to know our level of awareness of who we are as an individual, and part of that is our state of mind on a daily basis when we're trading. When I say daily, if you're day trading or if you're a swing trader on a on and off basis, or mainly if you're competing, doesn't matter, it'll be Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or Monday to Friday, whichever one you choose. And through there, as part of your mindset, your value system and belief system, there is a pyramid, meaning that if who you are is mainly saying, well, I am the best trader in the world that can profit in any market conditions, but in order to believe that, your belief system should be supported with your value system. Meaning that in order for you to believe that you're the best trader in the world, then you need to have a high level of commitment, confidence, discipline, integrity, and power, right? You need all those in terms of values, because you're trying to say yourself, ooh, I'm the best trader in the world, but you don't really believe it, because your belief is saying, and part of your value system is saying, and you're looking at it, you have fear of execution, fear of hesitation, fear of missing out, don't have confidence that much. Then how can you believe that you're the best trader in the world if your values are on the bottom end, on the negative side? It wouldn't work. So they need to go in synchronicity. And if the way how you feel is negative, then how can you have a value system of being positive if you feel negative? It doesn't work, right? And how can you say to yourself that you're the best trader in the world if you're in an anger mode, irritative mode, and you're trying to say to yourself that you have a lot of fear? It wouldn't work. And then the doing part is your action steps based on your methodology. So if you have a current methodology, then this is your doing part, and the having is the outcome, the trading outcome, whether you win or you lose. That is the model that I basically follow, because it starts from who you are, from your mindset. Last part is the middle part is second. So the performance, when you're performing to your best ability, the having will come automatically. So if you're chasing money, your focus is chasing money, your focus is not this part and this part. It wouldn't work, right? They need to go in synchronicity. Okay, next. I love this great book. It's funny, I was walking through California Avenue one day. It's a secondhand bookshop. Because while waiting to get into a restaurant, we went in and looked into some books, and I found this. Pete Carroll. It's called Win Forever by Pete Carroll. And he stated that one of the keys to success lies in knowing and believing in yourself. And by the way, Pete Carroll used to be the head coach of USC Trojans in football. And I believe currently he's the head coach for the Seattle Seahawks, which is a professional football club. When you are confident and you trust in who you are, you can perform to the best of your ability. Whether you are coaching the USC Trojans or the Seattle Seahawks, working at your job or running a household, all you should ever strive for is to be the best you can be. And that is the essence of what it means to win forever. And hence I put it in bold and I italicized the letters. So notice how the key to success, or one of the keys to success, lies in knowing and believing in yourself, hence who you are as an individual. When you are confident, hence your value system and your belief, and you trust, because you have the confidence, then you trust yourself in who you are, or for the being part, you can perform to the best of your ability. And this is just not just in trading, but in anything that you do. And you know what? To maintain that on a consistent basis is a challenging thing to do. And why? Because of the self-awareness factor. The self-awareness is very important. Okay. There's one here that I took a spin from Lou Holtz, who's also another coach. He's a football coach. So I basically stated the best traders don't always win, but those that trade the best most always do. And Lou Holtz basically stated the best players don't always win, but those that play the best most always do. Yes, we don't win all the time in trading, but if you do your best and your best ability in trading, then you will win, right? So there's a big difference between the two. Between someone who is not self-aware about themselves, they just trade for the sake of trading, compared to someone who is very aware, they have a plan, they follow the plan, they're disciplined, and so forth. Okay, now the book defines the difference between the inner game of trading versus the outer game of trading. And if you go through at the moment online, or if you receive a lot of advertising material, who here agrees that you always get the outer game of trading? The outer game of trading is mainly trading systems. I have the best trading system in the world. I'm making this, I'm making that. You should check it out. I have this robotic type of trading system. You should check it out, right? But it's seldom that you will see an advertisement in the inner game of trading. The inner game of trading is mainly about us, the mindset part of trading. In sport is also the same. In actual fact, good schools these days, self-awareness or self-development actually in sports psychology has always been in place in sport, but lately, mainly in, say, professional sports. Unfortunately, when I was competing, I didn't really have access to a sports psychologist, to be honest. Not until the Olympics came along, that's when it became more popular. So if I say it in sports psychology in general, self-development in general didn't become popular not until the early 2000s. But if you start basically at the very beginning, like say 80s or 90s, it wasn't really there. That's why in trading, there's no such thing as trading psychology at the moment. I'm sorry, there are right now, of course, but it's just slowly being there. But the majority of traders are not even open to looking into trading psychology, because the number one reaction that they do say anyway is there's nothing wrong with me. And it's just part of the cycle. The first 3 years of trading is mainly trying to find out whether the trading system really works or not. then if they start to trade and make real money, they start to lose at the end of the 3 years, about between 3 or 6 years. That's when they start to realize that it is no longer about the trading system, it's more about them. Okay, the winning formula to successful trading actually include that there is a winning formula to successful trading. It's like there is a winning formula to winning in sport. Yeah, at the end of the day, in most cases, then when I used to compete, I see myself as number 2, not number 1, to be honest, because the number 1, there's a lot of pressure. But if you're number 2, you're trying to chase number 1. So even if I'm number 1, then I see myself as number 2, so I can chase number 1. And I was talking to Coach Forey, the soccer player who used to play for Colombia and with Pele. And I said to him, I had a breakthrough not long ago, and the reason why at one point I no longer wanted to be number 1 when I used to compete is because if I'm number 2, then I need to train harder to be number 1. Because if you see yourself as being number 1, it gets boring. And in trading, that's why we self-sabotage ourselves as well. And the reason also why I self-sabotage myself is that if I keep winning, then it's boring. Because trading is easy. In actual fact, to be honest, trading is really easy. But what gives me the kick, if I don't be aware, and that's what self-sabotages myself, is that when you make it easy, then I subconsciously self-sabotage myself in order to lose. Then I give the money back to the marketplace. It's actually kind of scary in a sense, and that is pretty much what happened to me. So the question is, in your own self-sabotage, what would that be? So if you're winning and all of a sudden you give it back to the market, there's an underlying belief that you do have or reason why you give it back to the market. So for me, it's mainly the boredness, and that if I lose, then I need to chase once again in order to win. That's if I don't follow the rules, and that's the old me anyway. Okay. All right. Trading profiles. Trading profiling is very important, so I put that in as well as an exercise. Beliefs, obviously. Definition of belief is a certain experience in the past that you've experienced and you tend that to be true, and depending on how strong the belief is, that becomes a belief. It is a truth of oneself. Belief can be a limiting belief, a belief can be a supporting belief. And the number one belief that I always hear from newbies or intermediate traders, mainly, trading is hard. It's hard to make money from the marketplace, especially in a very volatile market. Professionals don't think that way. Professionals are actually very happy when there's a lot of volatility in the market, especially day traders, because traders need volatility, especially options traders. They need volatility. So part of the limiting belief is mainly they're saying that because they just don't have enough experience or enough knowledge or skill to be confident, and hence that's why they believe that. A supporting belief is someone basically saying, well, trading is easy and I can make money in any market conditions regardless of what day of the month or what day it is, right? And it's a supporting belief because they know they're very confident, they just know on their own ability. Value systems are something that is mainly important. So the number one is mainly success. They want to make money in order to be successful. Fear is a moving away value. So if you don't have much confidence because it's not a value system, because it's not important, then you'll have fear. So they go hand in hand. Human emotional needs of traders. There are certain emotional needs that traders actually do like or need. Hence, like I said earlier, it is mainly when something's missing in their lives and they need the challenge. They use trading as a vehicle to create that adrenaline rush, and they don't look at it as making money. They're making it more as a therapy. Okay. Next is typical emotions of traders, so like fear, greed, regret. So you go through that one by one, and there's a lot of exercises into that too. Habits, finding what your habits are, your bad habits, and when you find your bad habits, you need to change the bad habits in order to create a good habit. Part of my experience from traders is that after a seminar or workshop for the first week or two, man, they get so excited they'll do anything. They wake up at 5:30 in the morning. After 1 week or 2 weeks later, and then winter starts, and then it starts to rain. They no longer wake up at 5:30 in the morning. They start to sleep in, and the old habit comes back and kicks in. So those are the things that the habitual process or the bad habits that they create. Also, removing stop losses is a bad habit, right? So to be aware of those habits, what habits do you currently do have, and once you're aware of those bad habits, then you create a good habit. The bonus materials are what I included is the emotional flow chart and how to create a proper trading business plan, and a lot of exercises. So that's it pretty much from what I could talk today. Really, what's the reasons why a person or a trader could be destined to fail or failure, and how can they avoid it is through that, right? Being more aware about themselves, and through that awareness, through creating a lot of exercises, and that's why I put that in the book. And so the whole purpose for me to write the book really is just to get more people be aware that there's a certain process in terms of trading to be more successful. Success comes in time. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It took me pretty much 6, almost 7 years to break even from what I've lost in the past and to be more consistent, right? People ask me why I do this. Well, to be being a teacher coach, actually, it's not because I chose it. It just happened. It's a destiny almost, right? It started mainly from teaching friends, and then it just grew from there. And I got a lot of feedback, and they said, you're great, because I push them to their limits. In most cases, I'm direct. It's like the athletes at Stanford. I'm really tough. I'm more tougher than the head coach. And the reason is because through the experience the experience of being an athlete. And I'm strict because I just want them to succeed as well to their own best ability. At the end of the day, it's not about me, it's about the trader. So if they're not doing their homework, then I need to push them. At the end of the day, if not, I say, hey, you're paying me. You're paying me, so I might as well make the most out of it and be worth and do it, make it more worthwhile, right? I've kicked off a couple of people, in terms of the way how I teach, because at the end of the day, too, the coach and the athlete, or the coach and the trader, has to be in the same synchronicity, same goal plans, and same purpose. Because if the purpose goes and diverges to a different or something else, then it wouldn't work. So if you don't have anything, what else? Actually, the book is available on Amazon and Kindle. And like I said, if you want a copy, you can also order it on the link right there, outskirtspress.com, EST Trader. But if you want a copy, let me know. Send me an email, and I'm more than happy to sign a copy for you and mail it to you. Any questions for me? Open question time. Q&A. Q&A. What was that? Give me feedback, please. Was it good? Was it a bit overwhelming? Was it a bit too much? Wow. No questions. Cool. Oh, before I forget, obviously for the guys who already do know me, just give me a call. But for those who don't, you get a 30 to 45-minute coaching consultation. Sorry about that. I'm going to get clicked. Because I clicked on that one. 30-minute coaching consultation. Whatever challenges you guys have at the moment, just email me on that email address, reynald@esttrader.com, and I'm more than happy to coach you guys for 30 to 45 minutes, and then whatever from there, depending on what you want, and we can go further. But other than that, yeah, I'm giving you as a free gift. Do I still get the consultation? JP, you always get consultations from me, mate. No worries. All right, and plus, since you guys are traders, like I said, I would love as well to refer like our other guys or tell them about the book because I highly guarantee, they will learn something from it. If they're not happy with it, let me know. Then I'm more than happy to give their money back and they can just keep the book. Okay. Alrighty. Nothing. Cool. Yes. Can you put your book link back for a bit? Yeah, absolutely. Second, please turn around. Oops. There it is. OutskirtsPress.com EST Trader, and it will actually show automatically either to go to Amazon if you prefer Amazon or you prefer Barnes & Noble. It is all available on Kindle and Nook. So the next one, I believe now that Google is coming up with, or already come up with something, and we put into that too. Okay. Nothing. If there's no more questions, guys, thank you very much for coming in today. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your support, either in the past or current at the moment. And once again, like I said, tell to your friends, people who would like to trade, before even they want to trade, let them read the book, because I know it'll help them make their decision and choice before they even getting into trading. Okay, can you explain a little on how to change a losing mentality into winning mentality? Easy. Changing your belief system. Losing belief into a positive belief. Rather than saying to yourself, oh man, you're such a loser. Say to yourself on a daily basis, I'm a winner. I am a winner. I'm a champion. I'm confident. Because if you're saying I'm confident, I'm a champion, I'm a winner, man, nothing can stop you. Right? And it takes 30 days to do that. On average, 27 through research is 27 days. 30 days is more than ample enough, but you have to keep on doing it. After this day, I still do my daily affirmations on a daily basis. Thank you very much, Erica. Thank you very much, Sue. Greatly appreciate it. All right. Anything else? If there's nothing, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care until next time. Happy trading.